Une séance proposée par l'Institut français d'Indonésie. But don't worry, everything is going to be in English, sur une proposition de l'attaché culturel, Monsieur Abou Kamate. Bonsoir, Abou. Avec aux commandes Bimo Putra. Tonight we're welcoming two outstanding guests, both renowned musicians, both composers, both very productive, creating, performing, traveling the world. They are going to reveal how they cope with the lockdown. Selamat malam, Mas Ananda Sukarlan.
Selamat malam, buenas tardes, good evening.
Selamat malam, Aksan Shuman.
Hey, selamat malam.
Do you recognize that music?
No.
I think our attendees are recognizing it. While I'm losing my earpod. Just a moment. I'm sure our attendees know exactly what it is about, and welcome everyone to this webinar. Welcome. Yeah. This is a phenomenal version of Chop Suey by System of a Down.
Yes.
By I will do, yeah, exactly. And tonight it's going to be System of a Lockdown with the Orquestra Sinfonica de Shanghai. And Shanghai, it's in Peru. Can you imagine what's happening in Peru? And we're going to talk about that because actually, you know, there are places in the world we barely hear anything. But fortunately, with YouTube, we kind of aware of what's going on and how everybody's coping. It seems like they're like enjoying themselves, and I hope that they cope all right with this COVID-19. We're going to talk tonight about how we cope with this lockdown as musicians, how we can still be active, creative, inspired to, you know, to go on, to move on, and maybe also some interesting tips about how to, you know, how to make money, how to keep going, being active as musicians, which is not really easy. I received today a WhatsApp from a friend, a very prominent bass player, who told me like, hey man, I don't have any money, I cannot buy food. So I think that the situation is really worrying somehow. So we are all stuck home doing teleworking. We're first working and like on a proper table, very well organized, but as time goes, we start to go to the sofa, and then finally we work in bed, you know, procrastinating, going on social media all day long, seeking for the next recommendation or sanitary evolution or the evolution in the world, munching, snacking, and then, you know, kind of covering our frustration to be so inactive physically, mentally, feeling kind of useless, not very productive, sometimes desperate or bored to death. So COVID-19 is a real cruel mirror. Yeah, I found out. And then we start to question ourselves for the big picture of the world, you know, we live in, you know, what's our life about, you know, and the most insignificant move and like a handshake or a hand washing or just cough or a sneeze, anything we touch might spread the virus, and we're almost afraid to breathe. So, how about the musicians? What are the musicians doing? Aren't these musicians locked up anyway? Practicing tirelessly their skills and arpeggio, da, 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 their tuning, their rhythm, memorizing lyrics, composing their new symphonies. Don't they need that quietness to concentrate properly? So isn't that like actually a good opportunity for musicians? Maybe the musicians can cope. That might be what the ministers might think. In Europe, that's a little bit the case right now, and musicians are very upset that nothing is done really for them right now. On the other hand, music is inspired by the outside world. Music is inspired by nature, by traveling, by experiences, by scenery, by freedom, and certainly the best of all, by love. And if possible, impossible love. That's the best. Tapi nggak boleh lagi impossible. So we cannot go out. We all have to imagine and have everything in our mind. And that's also the role of the musicians, is to find the outside world within themselves and their creativity. Musicians make all those sacrifices practicing inside, locked in, for just a little moment on stage, a little magic moment. Magic for them, magic for the audience. In a concert hall, a theater, a stadium, a wedding hotel ballroom, a studio, a bar, or a mall, and offer and convey their art, talent, and emotions to their audience against a bit of recognition, appreciation, gratitude as a necessary reward. But now, with the sanitary restrictions, every venue is closed. Gathering is verboden. No more orchestra, band, gamelan. No more reward for musicians, except a few comments on Instagram. Hey, that was cool. There's only left the work and the sacrifice. But is it that dark? And that's what we're going to answer. And first to our first guest, Axel Schumann. So we're very lucky to have you, Axel. Thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak. You are such a prominent drummer. You are a role model for me, actually. I know you like quite a few years. I remember you at the Club 45. Is that right?
Yeah,
Doing
yeah.
some jam session. Exactly. And yet you are like a very well-trained drummer who studied in Germany. You are the former drummer of Portrait. You even played with the 119. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, when Ari Lasso was young and not yet so nakal. Is that right? No.
Yeah.
And Potret, is one of my favorite bands. I love Antohod and especially Meli Guslau is one of my favorite singers. So I'm an admirer. But you also will speak about your new project, which sounds fantastic. We'll listen to that. Axel Schumann and the Committee of the Fest. Fabulous. You're a composer and especially a film scorer. You write for films and very famous films like Laskar Pelangi, like Tanah Air Beta, like The Photograph, and you got pretty much awards and prizes for these fabulous recordings, for these fabulous scores. And you also transmit this knowledge in your own school, which is the Axel Schumann Music School, and you got quite a few students and very, very famous teachers there who are teaching. I'm thinking of Indra Perkasa, I'm thinking of Mary Kasiman, all these fabulous musicians around. And I'm very curious to know how do they cope with the COVID-19 right now and the lockdown. You're also the founder of the Rumah Schumann, and I've had the honor and pleasure to conduct that production of Le Petit Prince by Saint-Exupéry. Yes, French literature put into Indonesia, and the links between France and Indonesia are countless. You also are a board member of the Jakarta City Philharmonic Orchestra, the JCP, that are also promoting French compositions and even, pieces that are not so oftenly played. I remember a fabulous performance of L'Enfant et les Sortilèges by Maurice Ravel. It's one of my favorite compositions because I had the LP when I was a kid, and I just love that music. It's very rarely played in Europe, yet it was played in Jakarta with the Jakarta City Philharmonic. And to finish and let you talk, you're also an instrument maker. You make guitars, you make bass guitars, with massive Indonesian wood, and that's the very specific thing about these absolutely beautiful looking instruments. They must be quite heavy because, wow, that wood is quite something. But even heavier than that, you make grand pianos. Yes, there's no limit with Axel Schumann. Grand piano, and we are really waiting for the release of that fabulous beast, that king of the piano, which is called the Schumann Renanda piano, with a fantastic futurist design, beautiful, and I can't wait to see it played and to hear how that sounds. I'm sure it must be fabulous. And those instruments were shown at the NAMM Festival in Los Angeles and the Frankfurt Messe. Did I forget anything, Aksan, in this introduction?
No. You're good.
I couldn't make it shorter. Sorry.
But you're good.
I'm sure you must be like confused with all these activities. But my question is like, what's going on right now? Is everything stopped? What's your life like? How do you cope with this huge lockdown? Is everything stopped or what?
So first, this when I experienced this the first time, and then I was really down, really down, and because we were busy like touring with Portrait. This is our this 2 years back then. It's really busy that I have to travel a lot, and then suddenly stop like that, and yeah, I was really confused about that situation the first time, and everybody talking about this sickness and everything. Everybody's talking about that, and every day, and then I was really down, and then one day I said to myself, and I said, okay, this is it. I don't want to hear about any news, and then I stopped to listen to the news, and I start doing things what I thought what the criminals gonna do in this situation, because yeah, they take advantage from everything, they take advantage from a lot of bad situations. So I don't want to be like a victim from this situation. And then I start to move, and then I start to do things that I've never done before, or actually I wanted to do it like that. So I start to actually, the good thing is I start to practice again, and that's really nice to have time to practice, because I'm doing a lot of things, and I start to practice again.
Practice drums.
Yes.
You practice drum, right? Yeah. Paradiddles. What kind of thing, for our drummers up there?
You know what? I kind of like a very basic one. The single strokes. I really find the single stroke, the very basic one. You can make a lot of things from a single stroke, and new sound from only from a single stroke. So I'm working on my single strokes, and I think I'm quite happy with all what came to me, and hear those kind of, it's something like an old style drumming, like
Yeah.
but somehow in nowadays nobody's using it anymore. So like everybody is using all the chops and all the herta, or they have a lot of name now. It's not only paradiddle, or they have herta or blah, I don't know. And I really enjoy it.
Right.
So
And do you share it? Do you share it with your audience?
yeah,
Do you get a chance to, yeah.
that is the thing that suddenly I every day, not oh yeah, almost every day I start to make a like an Instagram live. I call it a sharing practice. I just want to share, you know. I want to get close to my audience. Get close, because if you're practicing, it's not gonna be really smooth like when they see you on stage. But you know, it's like to know that we have problems, that we are working on something, even a simple things, uh, to and then we have a connection, you know, because most of my viewers are, yeah, it's a medium class or medium low, and you know what,
That's right.
and it's amazing, you know what, within 1 month I got like 700 followers more.
Yeah, but that's totally normal. I mean, you're such a famous drummer, and it's really a great luck for everyone to be able to go inside your practice room and see, you know, this very private thing, something that normally we don't see. And I mean, it actually was anticipated, because with Insta Live, we've had more and more of these very famous players practicing, you know, doing scales and doing their private job. Maybe Ananda does that also. Did you do that, Ananda?
No,
Show the skills. It depends also the personality of the musicians, but I've had a chance to see like really up to superstars, singers and stuff, you know, showing how they caress their dogs and how they practice or practice maybe some other songs, other repertoire. And you know, we go into the very private life, and it's kind of you know, peeping, and that's it was before the COVID, but now we only have that. And I think that the connection with our audience is something very important. Aksan, tell me about composition. Do you feel any inspiration to do some, you know, some composition also by your own, or do you still have like orders or something like that? You know,
uh,
how's that going?
Actually, I always plan to do music, you know, that I didn't had chance to write it, but I already wrote 2 pieces now during this time. I call it, it's like it's different pieces, you know. It's just very short pieces, like 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, but maybe I will make it until like 7 pieces or 8. Yeah, I call it
For what instrument is that?
it's for piano and strings. Yeah,
Piano
and strings.
and
The string
strings.
quartet,
Fantastic.
string
Right.
quintet or quartet, or something like that. So
Okay.
I started to write this music, and yeah, and then I write something also for my staff, for to play with the drums. You know, like I never play like being in the funk band or a fusion band, but I thought when I was doing this learning this music, and then I grew up with, in the 80s. It was like a really fusion era, and I didn't get a chance to play it. And then so I start learning, and then I make music for drums for me to play. You know, it's yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Right, right. And when you compose, do you always include drums, or you like to compose something without any percussion?
I like to compose anything. What is what's in my mind. So actually,
Right.
yeah. This drum thing is only came out during this uh, time.
Uh-huh.
Actually,
Uh-huh.
normally
Right.
I like to write something else.
And if I play you this, what is your comment? Listen.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's a real good music to listen now.
Give it time, give it space, give it faith, give it time, give it soul, give it faith, give it room to grow.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is this? That sounds fantastic. What is it?
Oh, that's my latest project with the Accent Human. Oh, wait. Accent Human and the committee of the fest. This band is actually it's more like an improvisation project. This is our second album, and we are recorded that album live in one day. So we made the song at that time during this one day from scratch, from nothing. So we made this the music, and you can do that with if you have a good musician around you. It's no problem. And
right, yeah. But it sounds very prepared. It sounds like very tight, and the sound, the sound engineering and all that is fantastic.
We did it like almost everything like in 7 hours, and the whole music in that
even
album.
the singing, the lyrics, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
That's
very
a one-day project.
spontaneous. Okay,
yeah.
And so how many CDs have you done of Accent Schumann and the committee of the fest?
Two CDs.
Two already.
Yeah,
okay, so that took 2 days.
Yeah, it's 2 days. Yeah. That project is like that. You know, the first album was really a little bit darker because I was into like a jazz contemporary thingy that I don't know when was that when it came out. I think it's 2006.
Right.
And then, but now we try to make. You know what? From improvisation, it doesn't have to be always like contemporary that difficult to hear. You know,
right?
If you make like jamming or improvisation or something like that, we can do something that sounds hearable. You know,
something like that.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the first one. Yeah, that's the first one.
Wow, that's a little bit psychedelic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot hear
nice.
the music anymore. That's the thing, you know, Gabriel. We
really
did
good.
that the second time. The second time we used different perspective to play that song, and it turned to be more like a bluesy. The second recording of that music, it's much hearable. I mean, it's nice, nicer to hear.
But I liked it. The first one is like more like indie pop, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
something more
I don't call it pop.
here with or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like psychedelic thing.
Yeah, yeah, I like the psychedelics. You know, it gives us a chance to wear our old clothes. You know, sort of.
It's surf music. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's really excellent. So, and all this, like these productions, how about the downloading? You know, how is that working? Is it still on? This music is available on the net. We can
yeah,
download
you
on.
can download in iTunes or Spotify. You can listen to Spotify.
That's right. So yeah, yeah. Not only on YouTube, right?
No, 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 no.
Okay, okay. So for everyone, yeah. So that's a way, of course, to support musicians. Although I think that our most of our attendees, our audience is probably musicians, so they're starving like us. But of course, that we can live with the selling of these tunes on iTunes and on Spotify and stuff like that. Yeah. And how about Jakarta City Philharmonic? So how is that going? Because we've heard that gathering a lot of people is forbidden, and I've even read an article, very concerning article about choirs, because Indonesia is probably one of the strongest country for choirs right now. From last summer, they've won 5 major competitions in the world, like international competitions, and yeah, so and the problem is that in choirs in Holland, in United States, in France, some choirs gathered and played concerts early March, and they spread the COVID-19, the virus everywhere, and there were lots of casualties. So this is very, very concerning. And it was interesting what you said, Axon, that you feel like a criminal. It's like, are we criminal to go and sing a choir, sing some Bach or some classical music in a church, and then be all diseased? So what about the Jakarta City Philharmonic? Is it still going on? How do you cope with that?
We have some projects. We have an upcoming project for the 22nd of this month. It's a daring concert.
That's in 3 days.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
in
working.
right, okay.
I'm editing the video right now. It's like
Oh, okay. So it's on Friday.
Yeah. We record that separately. So and then we got funded from the the education Ministry of
Wonderful.
Education. Yeah. And this one also we are going to it's like a funding for funding.
Oh, okay.
So it's the people who wants to watch it have to pay, I think, I don't know how much, but and then we are going to donate that what we earn to traditional musicians that doesn't have the chance to work, during
Exactly. Yeah, because we know that gamelan and all the dancing and all the puppets and all the wayang is completely stuck right now.
Yeah.
They're starting slowly in Solo, and we can see even tonight some of the greatest dalang are performing, and I even have a friend, Kitsi Emerson, who's translating in English, so we can watch wayang. I watch wayang from home, but it's wayang is such a social thing, so it's very frustrating not to be able to do that. So you said Kemendikbud is financing, so they are paying the musicians of Jakarta City Philharmonic,
yes.
but then you raise charity for these traditional musicians. So that's fabulous. It's a very beautiful symbol that like classical music that we call like educated, sophisticated music is helping the traditional musicians. It's a very beautiful symbol. That's excellent. So anyway, I have to go on with Ananda.
Yes.
And if there is questions from our audience to any of our distinguished guests today, please you just type it. I think there's a possibility with Zoom. You type it, and we're going to select the questions, because I know that it's so interesting and time flies. Thank you so much, Aksan. And
Yes.
Ananda, what do you think of all this? Ananda, just a word. You are, I mean, it's very hard to introduce such a famous pianist, an internationally acclaimed pianist who studied in Den Haag about the time when I was in Rotterdam. So we might have bumped each other without knowing. You are like such a great pianist living between Indonesia and Spain. You'll tell us how you can still travel or not travel, you know, to Spain. You're a composer and you composed operas, you composed pieces for piano, of course, especially a series of pieces called Rapsodia Nusantara. And there's a bunch of them, and I've heard, and you play them, but a lot of people play them. We can see a lot of it on YouTube. They are inspired by traditional tunes from all over Indonesia. And you're also a teacher. You can tell also how you teach with the internet. You're an activist of Asperger's syndrome, because you yourself are a bearer of the Asperger's syndrome. And we know that people like Joy Alexander might be touched by that, and Yevgeny Kissin as well. So it might not be that bad for pianists in the end. So you're the founder of the Yayasan Musik Sastra and the Ananda Sukarlan Award Piano that happened at the IFI, at the Institut Français in the auditorium. I remember that. I attended to one of them. So, and you were like recently also invited as president of the jury of Queen Sofia Prize in Spain. It's one of the highest classical music award in Europe. Is that all stopped? How do you cope with all these activities?
Yes, thank you, Gabriel. Yes, well, in fact, to be honest, I'm quite happy about all these things because you know, it gives me time to stay at home. And in fact, I'm now more a composer than a pianist, you know, and I've been several years trying to give up playing the piano. And of course I couldn't. And now it's the time for me to give up the piano because in fact, well, you mentioned about the being the jury, the president of the jury in the Queen Sofia Prize. It was, last time it was in March, beginning of March, 1st of March, in fact. So it was in Barcelona, and then I had to fly back here to Jakarta because I had a tour, Rapsodia Nusantara tour, exactly. So, you know, it was planned for Surabaya, Bali, Makassar, and everything. And then after I arrived in Jakarta, it was all canceled, of course, postponed. And so it gives me time to stay at home, stay in my apartment. And in fact, in my apartment, I don't have a piano. So in fact, I'm not prepared for this lockdown, whatever. But then it gives me a lot of time to compose and a lot of, you know, projects, even until next year, I could compose during all these March, April, until even May. Yeah? So, and even things which are in my head, you know, oh, I want to compose this if I have time. And, you know, every time we think about that, in fact, we never have time to do all those crazy things. And now I have time. So I've been very productive. And also because I'm, in fact, quite an introvert person. So I quite enjoy this time being alone, you know, writing music a lot. What I did is just well, finishing all the projects, and well, yes, the competition, the Ananda Sukarlan Award, it was in fact for July, but now it's postponed to August, 27th of August, which is good because everybody asked me to postpone it because, well, you know, the teaching and learning through online here, especially in Indonesia, doesn't really work well because the internet is quite slow in Indonesia, and so it's not very effective. In fact, teaching, especially classical music online, you know. So
absolutely.
many people,
So, yeah. And okay, and you can do like workshops or for many people, or you teach one by one?
I teach one by one. Although I gave two workshops once, and then some people asked me to do, you know, this kind of how do you say, lectures, but I haven't done it. And in fact, it's now quite busy with my mobile phone because now everything is done by mobile phone, like this
Right.
now. we're doing now. I like every few days. So which for me is something new because I'm not very advanced into technology, and I learned about Zoom just last month, in fact, or 2 months ago. So these kinds of things. But yeah, the teaching process with online, everybody complained here that it's not going well. And so that's it. All the piano teachers, the young pianists say, could you please postpone the Anak Dasukaran Award? And yeah, so we postponed till August, and we hope it works because now it's going to be more relaxed, this lockdown thing. Schools are starting, malls are opening, and so the learning process is going to happen again next month. So June, July, and August, end of August. So basically, we have 3 months to prepare.
And there's gonna be Lebaran break and everything, so they will have more time to prepare. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise, is that?
Well, break, you say Lebaran break. We have a break already for about 3 months, so we don't need more break. And and the thing is, no, it's not as simple as that, because some people, the children, they have to study piano at home. But at home, during these months, the parents are at home. All the family is at home, and of course they cannot make noise all the time. So it's not that, oh, now that you're at home you can practice piano like 24 hours a day. No, apparently it doesn't work like that, because everybody has time to do things. And so yeah.
Do you recognize this? That's being tricky. We didn't prepare that. I help you. This is variations. It's not the Rhapsody Nusantara, but it's variations on Kasih Ibu. It's very beautiful.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know my own music.
And it's interesting to hear that you don't have a piano at home. You have a keyboard, right? To compose. At least you have something. And not even. So you don't compose with a keyboard. You compose directly with a pen.
Yeah, well, with the computer now, with Sibelius.
With the computer. That's
it's typed there. But classical music.
With all the shortcuts.
Yeah, but classical musicians usually we do that all the time. So before they write on papers. I can't imagine those those composers writing on papers and papers. Because with Sibelius, if you want to delete, you just delete. And with papers, you have to throw away hundreds of papers.
Yeah, that's right. And Aksan, do you compose also with the computer?
Yes, of course. We are the composer from today.
Yeah, it's so much easier, especially when you want to spread parts from an orchestra. You don't have to have all these slaves doing it for you.
I cannot do that. I never have the discipline to write something like that. Not even
but
drum charts.
Yeah.
When I was a student, I worked as a copyist for those composers. Dutch composers like Louis Andriessen, and I know all his music because I copy the parts. And now I will be out of job now because nobody needs copyists anymore. Because
so there's less work. Yeah. There's less work because the computer helps, but it also takes our jobs, right? So and we have to cope with that. But then I'm asking a question to both of you. Do you think that technology can open new perspective for a musician? Like like giving lessons through the net, or composing things, or spreading your music easier than before when there was MySpace, was it?
Aksan?
No.
Anyone?
Yes.
Do you have any idea? Yeah.
Yes, I think yes. You know what? Like you know, we just live today. We live today, and that's computer is it's our tools from today. So whatever many things that we can do with this kind of things, yeah, we have this slow internet connection. All the teachers now, what we are doing is just is sending the video. We record our class. We record it first, and then we send it, and then the students send it to us. It's like Ananda said, that's not really like a nice situation that what we do with online lessons, but you know that at least we can do, you know, because
That's right.
people have to earn too, you know, and I think that's the temporary way out right now.
Right. And what advice would you have for musicians, you know, to explore or create or do new things, you know, in order to survive with the internet and with the new technology?
I think it's many things, you know. Everybody is doing this jam session thing, you know. People had chance to introduce themselves to other musicians all around the world, something like that.
That's good. That's connection. That's connection is great. You can play along with very famous people. I've seen with Edwin Gutawa, there's something, and you know, you spread your name. That's great, but that doesn't bring food. It doesn't bring money, right? So how can we go from there to the next one?
It's more like of course you know what, like this kind of thing. When it started, we made this like playing at home, like concert at home, and with portrait, you know, we did like 10 videos of them, and I start to learn how to edit the to put all together and to edit, and then I'm using now film editing software, and I start to learn new things, you know, and
so you get skills. You learn, right? So that's a learning thing. So there's a social, and then learning.
I already get paid for that.
Oh, okay.
Somebody
Wow.
else asked me, to do stuff, you know, and I think there is always a chance, like this sharing, like what I did is this sharing practice, you know. Now like after that, after a week, after 2 weeks, like for people ask me to make this online lessons, even 2 times a week or something like that, you know. And I think
fantastic. Yeah,
you can learn something and very quick nowadays, because you had help from computer or something like that, and I think you still if you try enough, you can earn something. It's not like
that's right.
much, but you know, it's always something, you know.
A little step, right? And how about you, Ananda? Did you find like ways to go, or do you have advice for you know, for pianists, for you know, your students or pianists around more in the classical field, maybe?
Yeah. Well, as I told you, there is a problem which we cannot solve here. I mean, the musicians, is that about the internet speed in Indonesia. So that's the big hindrance for classical musicians, especially. Even, you know, you played the music there, even it was my music, I couldn't recognize it. You know,
of course, yeah. No, the sound is not good. It has to be, you know, better quality for sure.
Yeah. So no, basically now we are all reduced into teaching, and well, for myself, in fact, it's a good time for me to rest. As I told you, I I want to become a 100% composer, in fact. So that's this is quite a chance for me. But yeah, for young pianists, I know it's quite difficult. And that, in fact, after, well, if the internet connection is not repaired here in Indonesia, then there's nothing we can do. And even online with good internet connection, it's still difficult. Imagine if it's not that good. You know, you play and it's all delayed, and you know.
So it's clear that what we need is the direct connection. But you know, can you imagine that you play a concert, you know, with an audience that are you know, meters apart, you know, with this social distancing thing? How can you imagine that?
Exactly. And what I do with the teaching is that I ask the students to record first in video what they play, you know, and then send it to me. And so I listen first completely.
Good quality.
Not that they are playing while we are talking, because if they play through the WhatsApp or through Zoom, then I just don't know what they are playing, and they don't know what I am playing too.
It's actually a good challenge. No, it's a good challenge to video yourself. You know, we always say that we're always lazy to do that, but it's a real pressure, because when we video it, we cannot, you know, we cannot make mistakes. We have to do it a very beautiful final performance, right?
Exactly. And in fact, if you record yourself and if you listen to yourself, that's the best teacher you can have, because then you listen yourself and
then you give up.
It's not your teacher who say, hey, this is not good, this is not good. It's yourself. You know, you listen to yourself and you think, this is not good. And so, yeah, recording can be a very good teacher for everybody. And the other thing is that so many students, of course, have upright pianos. And in case of instruments, they have not very good instruments. You know, so they play on their piano, and then you know, we cannot realize what is not good, the piano or the pianist, you know, because the quality of the piano is good. My piano is quite okay in my office, in my studio. So if they come and play on my piano, I know what's the problem. But if they play on their piano, then I cannot pinpoint what's the problem, because, well, maybe it's the piano, it's not them. And of course, upright piano is very different.
It's very difficult,
Sorry?
Yeah, it's very difficult to judge, right? To judge the sound quality, to judge the phrasing, the touch. Exactly. You know, like there's a lot of things that are really difficult to judge when it's not one-to-one, when you're not like physically connected, right?
Exactly, and also that's the problem, that nobody is prepared for this situation, because everybody has a bad, well, not everybody, but most of them, they have not a very good piano at home, just an upright piano.
That's right.
They never tune the piano. In fact, I don't tune my piano in my studio either. I mean, I should have tuned it more often. But
we know that this lockdown situation, you know, emphasizes the inequality between the people. You know, the one who are wealthy and not wealthy, good piano, bad piano, and all that. So we all suffer from that, and that's something we observe, unfortunately. And now I'm just like shortly interrupting, but we go on with the debate. But we have to take a few questions. So do we have some questions from Institut Français? Bimo, do you have any question, or Abu?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, Mas.
Hello, Bimo.
Ananda. We have some question. We have a question from Nidia. I don't know if she's still here. I will let her talk. Nidia, if it's okay if you want, do you want to talk to ask it out loud? Okay.
Hello, Nidia.
Hi.
Please, we'll listen to you. We'll listen to your question.
Well, thank you. I didn't expect that you would.
Yes, please.
Okay, Nidia, you can.
My question.
You can ask your question. We're very, very glad
right.
you take chance.
Okay.
Yes.
My question is: this situation related to COVID-19 inspire you guys to make music? Thank you. That's my only question.
What's
So,
the
so,
question?
so sorry, again, what is the question?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well, very well. So
Okay.
just the question, can you repeat the question?
Does this situation, the pandemic situation, COVID-19, inspire you to make music?
It's
Inspire
Inspire.
you to make
inspiring.
music?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so okay, yeah, absolutely, yeah. This is very good question. So with this situation, whether you're locked down, whether you feel like a criminal, inside your studio, does it give you some new inspiration, new philosophical ideas, or new, wish to through the music to feel free? So who wants to talk, Ananda, Aksan?
Akan.
Actually not. Because I don't get anything from it except that like maybe like Ananda, if you want to write music, you must have something already in your mind, and you want to write it down in the, not the paper, but inspire from the COVID-19. I don't think so. It doesn't inspire me anything, but I already inspired before, yes.
Yeah.
But
So
it
maybe
just gives
maybe a
me time
thriller
to do
movie.
what I want to do. That's all.
Yeah. So for me,
That's right.
it's
Yeah. How about you, Ananda? Did it give you some emotions that you want to? Yep.
no, not emotions, but as a classical musicians, we are concerned about structure. And if you need to write big music, big scale, big structures like at least 10 minutes of music, like Rhapsody on Nusantara, for example, I need to be at home for a few days just working on that. And so this is the time where I can write big scale music, like even I just wrote something for more than half an hour now, because it's something which I want to do already for a long time. It's like a piano sonata, but it's not. It's something else. So it's not being inspired, but having the time just for myself, being alone, and turning off the mobile phone for the whole day,
Yeah.
and just turning it on whenever I'm tired composing. So yes, so it's not about the inspiration, but it's time and the opportunity. And
And I know. Yeah.
many great artists wrote their biggest works in isolation, like as you know, the writer Pramudia Anantatur. He's the greatest writer
Oh yeah.
in India. He was in an island, like in prison, so for many years, and he wrote this 4 books: Bumi Manusia, Child of the Earth. And also, if in Europe, you can think of Oscar Wilde. Maybe he wrote De Profundis in jail, very short book. And so yes, so
yeah, that's right. And Gustav Mahler also. Gustav Mahler, who was in the summer, he was composing in the summer in the mountain of
yeah,
Austria. And
exactly.
Gustav Mahler actually was performed by the Jakarta City Philharmonic and the Jakarta Symphonia Orchestra also recently. So we started to play that music. So let's hope that that's gonna develop. Also, Ananda, I know that you had to compose a special composition commissioned by the Southeast Asian Music Camp. But the camp was totally canceled. It had to happen in Bandung, and they had to create a composition of yours. So that's been canceled. So do you have a lot of commissions that were canceled because of COVID-19?
Well, it's not canceled, it's postponed, they said. And in fact, I'm
Okay.
quite happy because I haven't started writing that. I was writing
Okay.
because the deadline are catching up. So yes, now I have a lot of time to do that because it's postponed until next year. It's a double
So
concerto.
COVID-19 has some good sides as well, right? So postpone, we
Yeah.
have more time.
Yeah. So
Somehow.
it's a double
Just stay
concerto,
positive.
for violin and cello and orchestra. And
Oh,
I
nice.
have it in mind already, but I haven't written it down, but I will.
That's right. And Bimo, can we take another question?
Hello, yes, another question from Lev
Yeah.
Wirawan. I will allow
You can
her
give
to talk. Yeah.
Bimo, you can give, yeah, okay, you can give a few questions, otherwise, you know, so we can answer to a few at the same time. But let's listen to our auditor. That's a great idea. Who's that?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, yes.
Hi, my
What's
name
your
is
name?
My name is Levina. I've
Levina, okay.
2 questions for both speakers. The first one would be, could you please share some tips and advices for young or emerging artists in Indonesia who are struggling in this current pandemic? And my second question would be, if you could tell us a little bit about any changes in your creative approaches or creative processes during this lockdown situation. Thank you.
And Levina, what instrument do you play? So you can promote yourself.
I'm actually only appreciating music. I don't play any.
Oh, that's great. Okay, that's really, really, really very kind for all the players. But appreciating music is great, and attending to concerts. And if you cannot, of course, you know, like downloading some stuff is going to be great. Fantastic. What do you listen to, Levina? What's your music?
Various stuff. But at the
Okay.
moment, I'm listening to a lot of blues, jazz, and a bit of lo-fi, just to, you know, get that chill vibe when I'm working at home.
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. And I hope after this the webinar, you're going to listen to more piano and maybe the Rhapsody Nusantara of Ananda. So Ananda,
Definitely.
Aksan, do you want to answer? Thank you very much, Levina.
Thanks.
Ananda, Aksan?
Yeah, Ananda first.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Levina. Advice for young musicians. Well, now that you're locked down, you know, you can be inspired by a lot of things, like, for example, books. I'm thinking about myself these days because for a long time already, I've read less and less books because, you know, we already have smartphones and everything. But now I have the time to read so many books like before, like when I was a student. So, and books inspire me. So books, paintings, and everything. So this is the right time to read all those things, to inspire you, and to how do you say, to shape your creative process and your art. And then about what else? Oh, about our changing the habits. Changing the habits. Well, maybe, you know, if I write music and I finish one, usually I go out, or, you know, I have concerts. So it's not continuous. But now it's like I'm writing one piece of music and then I write another piece of music and then write another piece without stopping. It's just that. I don't know if it's good or not, but it's because, well, there's nothing else to do. Just, you know, being at home and write music, and that's our job, you know. So there's basically no change of habit at the moment, except that we don't go out. Yes, Aksan.
Oh yeah, yes. Like Ananda just said, it's interesting that maybe for younger upcoming musician or something like that, we should get a hobby, or it's you know, like I'm not a book reader actually, and I just I only can read Dan Brown books, but I only read it like 3 of them, but that's only like I read. But you know, but find something that you really like. If you like me, I'm more like audio kind of guy. I listen. I better listen than read a book. So I watch a lot of movies, bad movies or good movies, but I watch it. That's my hobby. I like movies a lot. Like every day I have to watch movie, and and I like to hear a presentation too, like the TED Talk or everything, something like that. But that most of what I saw and inspired me, and I have a lot of knowledge to think what I have inside, and I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing that we can learn. And what's the second question? What was? The change the habit. It's pretty much changed for me because, like I said, I never played drums. I didn't practice, and since this is I got it from this presentation about from someone. It's something interesting that this COVID is a virus, and you cannot kill the virus because the virus is not even alive. So what you have to do is just to increase your immune system, that get healthy and try to prepare your body have to prepare. So I've learned about this cymatics, or this healing, like the frequency healing and everything, like something like that. So but the good thing is the first that I start to practice again is not because I want to practice, just because I move a lot. It's like I feel that my hands, it's getting very lazy. It doesn't want to really do a lot of things like that. It's and then every morning I start to really do some work that makes me really sweat, and it's like a sport for me.
Wow, workout, yeah, and drink jamu.
Yeah, but it's I mean sometimes the quality of my practice is not that good, but at least it keeps me, and then it keeps me really fit. And then I need it now every day. I really need it. So
Okay,
it's really a big change, actually.
Okay, Bimo, is there any other question?
We have another 3 questions.
Thank you, Levina, for the questions.
This time it's from Abdraman Kamate.
Oh, okay. Hello, Abu.
I will allow him to talk. Wait.
Fantastic. Abu Kamate is the cultural attaché of the Institut Français d'Indonésie. So this is the person you have to meet if you have a musical project. You go straight to Institut Français and you present your program, because, Institut Français is frequently looking for groups, bands, Indonesian bands, and maybe they can connect with some French songs. And, when there's a connection, then there's a way to go. They have a beautiful auditorium where you can perform, and you have it right there if you have something to propose. So here is Abu Kamate, attaché culturel. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Gabriel. Just one question. I would like to know what's the economic impact of the crisis on the music industry in Indonesia.
Have you heard Aksan or Ananda of the impact, the general impact it has on the show business, let's say, on the music business?
It's really bad, actually. The impact is really bad. It's never been like this before. That's the only thing that we experience. I hope soon they start some old stuff like they try to do now, the drive-in again, to watch movie or maybe concerts or something like that. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but at least it's some, just make people to go out again, but the impact, it's really bad, actually.
Yeah. What do you think, Ananda? Any more optimistic?
Optimistic, not really, but
yeah,
I would like to talk about the music schools. the music schools, they say that in general, they lost 2/3 of their students.
That's
So it's
terrible.
not that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not that they, they let the students stay at home and give online lessons, because the online lessons, as I told you, doesn't really work. So the students say, okay, let's leave it for now.
Of
Let's
course.
have no for now.
Yeah.
And only 1/3 of them stay with online lessons, and that's why the piano competition, Ananda Sukaran Award, which was supposed to be in July, we didn't have any applicants. Well, we had something like 10 or something applicants, a dozen applicants. Usually it's about 80 to 100 applicants already a few months before. And also that, a few weeks ago, they talked to me, the piano teachers, the students, asked me to postpone the Ananda Sukaran Award. And that's why I talked to the Director General of the ministry, who also with Instituto Francés de Indonesia, the organizer of the competition. And so we all decided to postpone it 5 weeks later, which is for the end of August.
That's right.
And so, yeah, hopefully
it's also due to the fact that the parents, maybe the parents' income has been lower, so they have less money to pay lessons. So this is a very cynical situation. That's right. But your competition as Jakarta City Philharmonic are subsidized by the Kemendikbud. So Kemendikbud keeps the subsidies for these projects. They didn't withdraw it.
No, but then the students have to come to Jakarta, and it's not subsidized. They have to come traveling with hotel and everything, and that's why I launched a program called Invest in Young Musicians, where I introduce those young musicians to investors, people who want to sponsor their travel and accommodation, and you can Google it, Invest in Young Musicians, and maybe Google my name, and you can see what's the project about. So basically,
beautiful.
The investor meeting the participants of Ananda Sukaran Award. So hopefully they can come to the competition almost free, or hopefully completely free. Because
So to answer to the question of Abu, so the situation is really critical. The subsidies are still there, but they're more for the projects, like for a prize or for a very punctual project, rather than feeding, socially feeding the musicians, right? There's nothing really there to help musicians to cope with the situation, right?
Exactly, because the subsidy is to the organization, but not for the participants of the competition, and not also for the students. And as you know, Indonesia has the most music schools in the world. You go to Jakarta, and there's music schools everywhere, in every street.
Yeah, right.
But they're all private, and so once this kind of thing happens, then there's
no security.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you, Bimo. Is there any more question, and is there any more time? How are we doing with time? Because I think that our guests might get a bit tired. Yes.
We have another 2 questions.
Okay.
I will read it for them, because it's from anonymous attendee. I will read it for them.
Okay.
So according to what Mas Ananda just said, loss of 1/3 of students. So in connect 2/3. Oh, not 1/3. Okay.
2/3.
2/3. Sorry. And in connection with the question is, in connection with music lesson, is there any input on how to give understanding to parents to stay in music class through online class instead of waiting until COVID-19 done? If they mostly choose to take time off from tutoring first, especially for children who are still in basic and beginner. So,
Aksan?
Ini kayaknya buat Ananda aja, lebih keren nih kayaknya.
Well, I don't really have an answer, but the thing is, you can teach a lot of theory lessons, the theoretical lessons, but the practical lessons, like how to how to play, actually play the instrument, it's very difficult through online. And again, I complain about the internet connection.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for them, maybe it's time for them to learn about knowledge and about the theoretical things, and a little bit about playing the instrument. But the actual playing the instrument, I would say it's only 50% effective. But yeah, there are lots of videos in YouTube and everything where you can listen to sorts of seminars and master classes of music. So you can have this opportunity, this time to listen to all of this.
Yeah. What about the parents? How to give understanding to them, to the parents, to still stay in the class, and even it's online class?
Yes, that's difficult. Well, maybe the teacher has to know a lot about all this knowledge of music, so it's not only about playing the instrument, because the problem of most music schools in Indonesia is that teachers only teach how to play the instrument, but not the knowledge, not the theoretical things, not the history of music and everything. So the teachers, they have to change the paradigm and the focus to all those things, the knowledge of music, because it's also very important for students.
So that's interesting too, right? To focus on the culture, on the historical, maybe on interpretations, maybe send some different players, great pianists.
Like sometimes I teach students, playing music of Bach or Handel, and I can say that 80 or 90% they don't know that those kind of music were written for an instrument called harpsichord. So I always tell them, now you have YouTube, now you have the internet, check how the harpsichord sounds, because the articulation is different. This kind of things.
Exactly.
So history is very important.
Yeah. Is that so also with your students, Aksan? Do you recommend some some recordings or players, or maybe other like clinics that you can find on the net?
Yeah, especially what like I have one student that he's really young, like 7 years old, but he's very talented. And every time if I teach him something, and it's so difficult for him to understand what I'm trying to my example, for example. And then what the trick is, the children from today, they spend time watching the videos in YouTube or I don't know where. But and then what the trick is, this is what I use. I'm learning that I'm trying to find the reference in YouTube video for something that I want to teach, and then what I show him the video, and then suddenly they know how to do it.
True.
It's very, very funny. And then after that, every time in the lessons, I ask him to record what I'm showing. And that's why that's what the children from today has a really different how do you say it? But just different perspective how to learn, and because they used to watch from like here on screen, not live. So that's what I'm doing. But I think Ananda makes the point that during this time, maybe to get the to make the parents understand the importance of music, because when I play jazz, like jazz music, I don't only learning to play the instrument to play jazz, but you have to understand the music, and you have to understand the language, and that's
right.
the most important things, because actually there are a lot of ways to see the music, and to understand the music, and to make it essential, even though you don't have to play like other people, is something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and also now we have really access with the internet. We have access to every kind of performance and live or recordings or whatever. The access is there, right? Yeah, we can learn where. I would say, like in the old days, you know, where we were young, we didn't have all that, right?
No. I still remember. I only had one video, like this Jack DeJohnette played the what do they call freedom jazz dance, I think. A song.
Well, good enough.
And that's Jack DeJohnette. Only one thing, you know, and then we on Betamax, and I saw it over and over and over again, you know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How about you, Ananda? Did you have a recording that was so important? This is something that we see on the social media, you know, at the time. What was your LP, you know, your favorite LP, or the one that, you know, that inspired you the most?
Maybe West Side Story of Leonard Bernstein.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay. And so,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wonderful. Bimo, is there any other questions, or we go on to the conclusion maybe? Hello,
Yeah,
Bimo. And we've had just before a little hello from Mélanie Martini, who used to be the cultural attaché of the Institut Français in Bandung. So we say hello to her if she's still around.
Hi.
And thank you, merci beaucoup, Mélanie, pour d'être là. She's now in Doha, so you know, if you need Indonesian bands in Doha, we're ready to go.
In Dubai,
because I think Doha is Dubai. Sorry, Dubai. Thank you, Bimo. In Dubai, so maybe I think Dubai is not too much touched by the coronavirus. Merci, terima kasih, Mélanie. All the best. Tout est bien. Any other question, Bimo?
the last question from Anonymous also. I will read it.
Hello, Anonymous.
So the question is, all of you must be already had planned for this year, but because of COVID-19, everything is pending. Some of start to have some concert from home through online. Some postpone. Do your music plan, like the song and list and stuff? What are you guys going to do with your song list? Are you going to stay with the same song list, or maybe change with the new one, or else? Thank you.
The fact that that concerts have been canceled, does it change anything to your repertoire? I mean, I think that's the question.
Yes.
Would you like to play the new music after this, or?
Well, what the music I wrote now is planned already for next year. So those are commissioned music. So basically, there is no plan, no change of plans, yeah, but there's no big change of plans. No,
right.
It's just Sorry. Yes,
Aksan?
please.
And Aksan, do you have changes? Does Portrait's gonna sing new songs, or you know, or a new project with the committee of the fest?
No, I actually don't. For me, you know what? Some plans, but
so it's got cut. It's got cut. Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Can you repeat it? Because it cut.
I don't think that's going to change.
Oops. We're losing you, Aksan. I don't hear anything. It it connects with what Ananda said, that the connection is not not good enough. Yes, hearing, please. Please, you go.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't think so. I don't even have a plan. Actually, I never had a plan.
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm. And now to develop the business, Ananda, have you ever played Aksan's pianos?
oh yes.
Yeah, I would like. I look forward to play them, but not yet.
Yeah. Have you seen the Renanda Aksan Schumann Renanda piano?
Yes, I have seen it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So how does it look? I think it's still in the process, right?
No,
Yes.
it's done. It's done.
It's done. It's done already.
Yeah, actually, we had some plans with that, making a concert yeah, but we have to postpone.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is postponed. There was a huge competition, the Queen Elizabeth competition in Brussels, that's been cancelled. You know, it's a yearly, very very famous, prominent competition, and I really wish that that Aksan will work with some of the ambassadors so that we can bring the Schumann Renanda piano for the next competition. That would be fantastic. That would be really unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other question, Bimo? Any other question, or we can go and have a drink.
No.
That's it.
Let's have a drink.
Well,
That's
well, I think I'll have to really thank you so much for having made time for us and talked with this webinar about this very concerning situation with COVID-19 that's really striking the musicians in a bad way. We've seen that, so it's not very optimistic, although we tried to be. But you know, that's the thing in Indonesia and in general, musicians, you know, whether it's good or bad, we have to keep going. The show must go on, so we have to find ways to develop our career, or our work, or our activity, and be creative and innovative, and use the tools that we have the best way possible, so that you know, so that we can move on as a musician, and this experience will come out stronger probably, and maybe not right now, because it can be different from one person to another, but it surely is going to inspire a lot. And this, you know, we're in a history page right now, and a very global one. You know, what's concerning and what's interesting also is that all the musicians in the world are living the same thing, the same struggle, whether it's in France or in Indonesia. There's a problem of subsidies. There's a problem of really this status of a musician, you know, and that's the main concern. So I want to thank you so much, Aksan. Thank you, Aksan, for your patience, for your good advices, and for your information. Good luck with everything, with the drumming and with composing and with everything else. Thank you, Ananda, for composing so much beautiful music. We're looking forward to listen to more of that, to more Rhapsody Nusantara and operas and orchestral pieces and concertos. And soon we'll hear the JCP, the Jakarta City Philharmonic Orchestra, in 3 days, doing something that Aksan is editing, apparently, you know, with all these mosaic and all these squares, and a symphonic orchestra. It's quite something. It's about what, 80 musicians? How many? 60?
No, it's less than that. But still, you know, like suddenly you have all these tracks with a lot of musicians, and you have to put
exactly,
it's like puzzle. It's quite
yeah,
amazing.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, and there's so much of it. And I'm wondering, because you know, do you use Photoshop for that? I guess some sort of Photoshop or editing.
No, I'm using this Adobe Premiere.
Oh, okay. Okay, fantastic. Are you any familiar with that, Ananda, with technology and videos?
No, I'm
Not
very
really,
bad at technology, and in fact, in composing, you know, the Sibelius, I just use it like a typewriter. Even I turn off the sound of the program. So yeah, I'm very old-fashioned about that.
Right, but you still also try to find ways to get inspired, to compose, and to isolate yourself and take a chance of this lockdown to, you know, to be. But, you know, of course, this very, very hard work, and I'm talking to, of course, all the listeners, and especially if there are like some people from the ministries, to understand that musicians work so hard, you know, just for the few minutes on stage they work their ass and to really give their best, and they deserve all the supports. I want to thank also all the listeners to have been here, and I've seen my friend Malvin, a violin player of the Jakarta Symphony Orchestra. Hi Malvin, thank you for reacting, and thanks everyone. Be well, and we'll do another webinar soon, I hope, and I hope that the situation will be better. I prepared a little music here, and let's see how it goes. Maybe you remember that one. It mixes actually two worlds, piano and jazz. Let me switch on my little Bluetooth here, and this is interesting. I'll show you a little bit of this, if it wants to work. I know that tune. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Yeah. Is that Ibu Kartini?
Yes. That's my music. Well,
you want to comment on this? This is you.
Yes. That's Rhapsody Nusantara number 8. It's based on Ibu Kita Kartini. Yes, in fact, the song is based on a folk song. So, it's a double.
Fantastic. But orchestrated with orchestra, right?
Yeah. So it's like a mini piano concerto.
Oh, nice. This sounds really good. Look at that. Ouch.